That's an absolute beauty.
Now the approach at the 8th, and Frank, what are the options for a player?
Well, the green does slope back to front, so if you're a high ball flight hitter, there's nothing wrong with flying the ball all the way up there. But because there's no bunkering in the front, you can also come in here low and sort of bound that ball up there. Choices.
That should be pretty good right there. On the safe side. What an outstanding shot that was.
You got the right result, too. It's just a tap-in.
So just a formality here. How about a third birdie on the round? Frank, the 9th hole, called Olympus. It is very grand sounding. Like something that...
You're talking Greek god here, aren't you? Come on, this golf course is for the mere mortals, Rich.
Appears to be a smart shot, Frank.
Yeah, no problem here. That's going to fly all the way.
Chance to close out the front side here with a birdie. Really not much to this. The only issue would be a lack of concentration or focus. Frank, just a surgical touch out there.
And the scorecard reflects yet another birdie.
Well, that was a nearly flawless performance on the front side, but Frank, we know it's an 18-hole game, isn't it?
That's right. Now's not the time to pat yourself on the back.
In the fairway here at the 10th, nice way to start off the back 9. Now the game's #1 player, Rory McIlroy, ready with his approach. Early part of this back 9 and a good approach shot. Now we'll have this for birdie. Frank, 2 is nice, but
3 is even better.
Well, there's an opportunity wasted.
Just knock it in for a par, and let's forget about this one. Golf is not about perfect, but it's going to hurt the course.
Good solid work right there, and stays at 4 under. Now on to the 11th, and Frank, we are looking at a long par 4 in front of us.
We are indeed, and it's called shadows, but there is love in the shadows here. Hit it over that dune down there in the middle of the fairway. If you can get it there around the 300-plus yard mark, then the hole obviously starts to get a little easier. That second shot, you'd like to hit a little bit of a cut in here, but there's 2 levels to this green, so make sure you're on the right level where that flag is. Rich, there's great drivers of the ball. We've seen Norman, Nicholas over the years, but that there is just excellent. Lovely full turn, plenty of power, and just piped it.
Made it look easy right there, and he's such a good-looking player. When he's dialed in, swinging the way he is right now, just a pleasure to watch. Well, that's how you do it. Hit it close, take the pressure off that putt. That one should be no problem. These putts keep the round together. That's a birdie for McIlroy. He's just so explosive. Measuring 311 yards, the 12th Frank seems to offer an opportunity for a player to do something pretty dramatic here.
Yeah, it's called the Narrows. Really, it should be called the Temptation, because what player stands on a tee knowing he can reach and doesn't take up the gauntlet?
And from the fairway for his second shot here. Safely aboard. Just 5 feet left. Really has it going now. Consecutive birdies. 13th hole now. It's a dogleg right, par 4. Frank?
But at 534 yards, you need an eagle eye, which is the name of the hole, to find exactly where you want to hit this. Doglegs to the right. There is a fairway that's plenty wide to accept a good tee shot. And then from there on in, it's actually a relatively straightforward second shot, providing you can miss that bunker that's just short in the middle of the green.
Frank, what's the best way to get at the 13th here?
Avoid those ridges left and right, or the mounds, should I say. That bunker that's well placed in the front of the green, obviously you've got to carry that, but this one you've really got to keep it in line with the middle of the green.
I like the looks of this one. Can't hide the flagstick from that man. Frank, this would jumpstart the round. A 3rd straight birdie.
Some good playing.
Has to be feeling good right now. Looks good with 2 straight birdies and 7 under on the card. Frank, now to the 14th hole, and this is the 5th consecutive par 4 here at Chambers Bay, and by this point the players will know whether they're on their game or off their game.
At 546 yards, this hole can be shortened considerably if you choose to take a brave line down the left side. You can chew off as much as 70 or 80 yards. But once again here, because the hole bends to the left, you've really got to know which direction that wind is coming from. Well, a hard hole after that tee shot has now become an easy hole.
It's the great equalizer. When you can drive the golf ball, Frank, just like that, well, it opens up so many avenues, and he'll have plenty to choose from here. Looks good. Chance to make a birdie. This is a good-looking shot. Great effort right there, and a great chance to knock in that short putt. Been pretty good all day from this distance, just trying to take care of business. How does that stay out?
I have no earthly idea. That's cruel, that. Hole's round. Ball's meant to go in.
Just a little tap in here. Did the job right there. At last, Frank, a break from those long par 4s. We just played 5 par 4s in a row. Now the par 3 15th.
And also, as you can see in the distance, you can actually see a tree, one of the few that are on the golf course. Hence the name of 15, it's called Lone Fir. Not overly long, just a little short hole. But in a US Open, obviously they can play it at around 250 yards. It's just a fun par 3. But check where that flag is, because sometimes 3 is a good score here. But an easy flag position, and then go straight at it.
Steady all day long. That one about 20 feet away. He'll settle. Do that, Frank. What a putt.
I didn't go that far in a holder.
Getting set to take on the finishing holes here at Chambers Bay. How do you do it in the right way, Frank?
Well, when you look down this fairway, obviously everything slopes left to right. That makes this hole actually play a little bit more of a dogleg to the right, even though it doesn't look it. And then, of course, that green up ahead. It's like a tabletop. So precision here is absolutely paramount.
Nicely played shot, about 310 yards down the fairway. Let's see what McIlroy does now with his second. And he's made the green. Birdie chance here. Very long putt, though.
Got to be a little careful if it gets away on him.
Frank, that's not one you're necessarily thinking about making.
No, just a good putt, though. There's no two ways about that. He's putting well.
Routine stuff for Rory. That's a par. Frank, you don't need just a caddy out here at Chambers Bay. Seems like you need a sports psychologist. You start thinking about the names of these holes. Beached at 16, and what's 17 called?
Derailed, and you can see why, too. That green's perched up there. If you've got the round going in the wrong direction, this is not a hole to start on. So if you've got a run going, it's just a good tee shot that lands around the front there, and you just take a 3 here. This is not a time to be a hero.
Good, clean contact and a nice result. And a chance for birdie coming up. You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. Ooh, good effort right there. Almost made it. This for par. Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Now to the 18th hole. Frank, everyone wants to finish in style.
Yeah, the home hole here, once again you head back to just a wonderful view, and you realize that Chambers Bay was designed as a walking golf course, and it was designed to have fun and test every department of your game. 18 will do that. It probably gives you more trouble on both sides of the hole than any other hole on the golf course. Oh, that's fine.
He has just hammered this drive here at the 18th, and now he is in a really good position to make a birdie here on the final hole. Okay, the second shot now at this par 5. That is tasty looking right there, Frank. Just a perfect spot in the fairway.
That is prime real estate. How do you get a lie like that? Seriously, you could hit any club from there.
Frank, you want to finish with one good swing here, the approach shot to the 18th hole.
I don't think there's a flat putt on this green, Rich. There's so many different sections. We said the course was like a maze. This 18th green can be like a maze. If you're on the right portion, then obviously that certainly helps. But there's so many different levels to this green.
You may have lost track at home, but we're keeping count, and that is 9 under for the day. Frank, that was just a dazzling display of golf today.
It's amazing how a game at times that can be so hard and just absolutely drive you crazy can appear to be so simple. This was just an absolute joy to watch today.
So that'll do it for Frank Nobilo and our entire team. I'm Rich Lerner. Until next time. Hello again, everyone. This is Rich Lerner here to walk you through some lessons on how to play EA Sports Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. We'll start with lessons that teach you how to set up different shots. Let's get started. There are 3 different ways to play the game. Each offers The arcade style uses a simple analog stick swing. Additionally, when you pull down on the swing stick, the golfer's animation will begin. The backswing meter will begin to fill. When the meter gets full, you want to push forward on the swing stick. A readout of your swing will appear after you hit your shot. The arcade style also gives you the ability to boost your power and add spin to shots. The power boost meter will show you how much power you are adding to your shot. The spin meter shows you the speed and direction of your mid-air spin. The arcade style automatically shortens your swing animation as you aim for shorter shots. The backswing meter will fill quicker and the animation will come to a stop sooner. Now that you know how to play and you So many historic moments have played out before our eyes in major championships, and today 2 of the top players in the world are set to tee off. Rory McIlroy holding a 1-shot lead over Martin Keimer. It's the final round of the U.S. Open Championship at Chambers Bay.
Going into the final round of any golf tournament with a chance to win, especially a major championship, it's a huge buzz. That's the only way I can describe it. It's the best feeling a golfer can have because you're in the mix and you're in with a chance to win one of the biggest tournaments in the world. It's an incredible feeling. It's something that you may only get to experience a handful of times in your life, so that atmosphere, you want to soak it in as much as you can and really enjoy it.
Rory McIlroy coming off a strong performance yesterday, now making his way to that first tee box and looking to add another major championship trophy to his already growing collection.
And Rich, there's no doubt both golfers will be nervous until they get that very first tee shot under their belt.
The first tee shot is probably the most difficult because you've been thinking about that shot since the night before. Once you get that first shot out of the way, you calm down, you're a little more settled, you're not quite as anxious or nervous, and you sort of get into the rhythm of the round. You want to get off to the best start possible, and obviously that starts with that first tee shot.
Well, here he is, Rory McIlroy, a past U.S. Open champion, about to tee off on what should be an historic day of golf alongside the beautiful Puget Sound. And he's underway. Frank, it looks like a good one.
Yeah, it looked like a free-flowing swing, that's for sure. It certainly betrayed the nervous feeling that we thought he might be feeling on the first tee. And a huge tee shot.
Well, you've been there, Frank. Nerves are good on the first tee, even for great players.
If you can control them.
All right, Frank, how would you break down this approach shot here at the first at Chambers Bay?
Well, Rich, it's partially blind, so you've really got to fixate on the exact point that you want to aim at. That's one of the beauties of this golf course. So maybe even just have a little look and make sure you know that line, because once that ball hits the ground, the natural contours are going to take it in a certain direction. So really fixate on that line.
Appears to be what they call a commercial play. Very solid. Looks to be a good one, Frank.
Oh, nestles inside 15 feet, so a birdie chance coming up for Rory.
Opportunity to put pressure on Keimer right out of the gate.
You know, it's uphill, Rich. It should, if anything, move to the right. Just depends on the speed of this putt, whether it's left edge or outside.
Rory McIlroy looking to take advantage with this putt. Excellent start, Rory McIlroy. What a nice putt.
I think making putts early in a round is very important. It sets the tone for the day and it gives you some positive momentum early. You see the ball go into the hole and it gives you confidence. You face a downhill putt at a US Open with greens that are as tricky as that, it just makes it even more difficult. I feel like you always face important putts no matter when it is, but obviously they're that much more important when, you know, it's the final round of a major.
Now over to the second, and McIlroy with a challenging downhill putt. Frank, I know it's early, but if he drops this could really spark some momentum for the round.
But this putt will be very, very quick. You've got to be careful because the ball can quite easily take off once it gets past the hole.
In. What a way to start this final round. Back-to-back birdies. After an impressive drive, Rory just 165 yards out, faced with this uphill approach shot.
It's going to play closer to about 175 yards, though, Rich, because of that uphill. So probably an extra club. But Rory, even though he grew up in Northern Ireland, where it's windy, is a naturally high ball hitter.
Playing this par 4, still not on the green after that second shot.
But still not done. A good third shot. Maybe get away here with par.
Bunker shot coming up now for Rory. How's this part of his game, Frank?
It's certainly improved over the last couple of years, and it really has to, because he plays such an aggressive style of play that you have to accept the miss, just like what we saw in that second shot.
Well, he'll be disappointed with that, no doubt.
Yeah, swing didn't quite look right on that one. No, it's a good strike. Good swing by McIlroy. And no problem finding the putting surface.
This for him would be one drop shot. Oh, man.
Just pushed it.
There's some times when there might be a wait on a tee box, or you've played your shot and you're waiting on your playing partners to hit their shots, and you just look around and you realize where you are, because you don't really you don't appreciate it that much whenever you're playing, and that's not what you're thinking about. You're thinking about trying to win a golf tournament and not really taking in the beauty of your surroundings.
Well, this is one of the most spectacular spots on the entire golf course here at Chambers Bay. The 9th, they call it Olympus, and what magnificent views as Rory McIlroy gets set to tee off here on this par 3.
And there's a great view, too, of how exposed this golf course is. So if the wind is whipping, this hole can play very treacherous. Won't play its full yardage, considerably downhill. Club accordingly for that, 1 or 2 clubs less. And green a little narrow when you get towards the back. So this shot really has to be respected.
Well, it looks as though they're going to need to use all their strength to sort of hack it out of that rough, missing it off the tee here. And let that one get away just a bit. Now he'll have to chip and putt to make his par. Second shot coming out of the rough here. This one just requires a little bit of focus. Wow, he got robbed, Frank.
No, it's like kissing your mother-in-law.
So they'll tap in. And that's a bogey. Now it is Martin Keimer all alone. Not unlike that tree out in the distance. They actually called that one Lone Fir here at 15. So McIlroy is the chaser.
Not an easy chasing, Rich. He has to get this up and down. Very difficult flop shot. This is a high-risk shot. Trying to get that ball up very quickly over the little pot bunker and then somehow get the ball to land soft on these very fast and very firm greens.
Nice approach shot. He'll be happy with that.
Rich, you get that feeling. If there's going to be a moment, I think that moment is now.
Trying to clean this up, make his par. Par for McIlroy, but you're just waiting for that moment when he hits that accelerator and pulls away.
Final few holes to play, especially of a major championship like the US Open. It's what you've worked so hard for. It's what, you've put all those hours of practice in for, and this is your moment. This is your moment to see what you've got against the best players in the world and test yourself at the ultimate level. There's obviously a lot of pressure. You don't want to let an opportunity like this pass you by. You don't want to let it slip. So to stay really focused, really concentrated, try to take one shot at a time, try and put the result out of your mind, control what you can control. But saying that, it is difficult with so many things going on around you, whether it be the crowd or it could be the person that you're going up against. There's so many things that you can't control, but the things that you can control, that's what you have to concentrate on, and that's what you have to try and do to the best of your ability. And if you can do that, that's what gives you the best chance to try and win a huge tournament like the US Open.
Well, you couldn't ask for anything more. We're at the 17th. Tie atop the leaderboard. 2 former U.S. Open champions, 2 holes left to play. This is really one of golf's best moments.
And we're looking at 2 of golf's finest, and this hole isn't going to be about power, Rich. It's going to be about precision. And so aptly, this 17th hole is named Derailed. Somebody just might be derailed on this very hole. That just came out blazing. As soon as it hit the green, it was never going to stop. Second shot. What a blow by McIlroy on 17.
Frank, this has been just a fantastic week, and these last few shots are going to determine the entire championship.
Rich, normally you'd think par on the 72nd hole would be good enough to win a US Open, but this par 5 is certainly reachable by these players. Par, no doubt, will not be good enough.
What a great drive on the final hole. Frank, the great thing about these major championships is the slow build-up to moments just like this, and then it gets really tense.
It's a dream scenario, Rich. You just dream that you're going to have the two best players in the game, buying it out, coming down to the very last hole. That's exactly what we have right now. So far, they've provided great golf. It's going to take something even better than that right now to determine who's going to win.
Frank, I think this one's going to miss the fairway.
He's going to need a little bit of luck here.
Yeah, it's in the bunker. Third shot now from the bunker.
Can still birdie the closing hole.
McIlroy now trying to apply a little pressure to Martin Keimer. This is for birdie. Well, you're not going to make that putt all. Well, this is it. This is for the U.S. Open Championship.
It doesn't go in, you got to add another one to the scorecard.
And that's where the golf ball's just staring at you and mocking you and laughing at you.
You know deep down it's smiling too, don't you?
So just before the door was open, but Martin Keimer slammed it shut. Keimer, the U.S. Open champion yet again. It came down to the final hole. Keimer really put on a show. This will forever be remembered as one of the best finishes in major championship history.
Lose a lead or you lose a major, or it doesn't quite work out the way you had hoped. At that moment in time there's obviously a lot of disappointment, but I think that passes and you use that as motivation for the next one, and that's the only way you can view it. You can't feel sorry for yourself, or you can't get down about it, because what's happened's happened. The past is the past and you move on, but you use it as motivation not to let it happen again. My toughest loss was the 2011 Masters, when I had a 4-shot lead going into the final round and completely blew up on the back nine. It was a very tough moment for me. It was very disappointing, but I used that as motivation to say to myself, that's not going to happen again. That's not the player I am. That's not the player I want to be. I used it in a way that 70 days later, I won my first US Open and my first major. So sometimes disappointments can be catalysts for good things to happen in the future, and it's just how you react to it. And I feel like, if you react to your disappointments in the right way, they can be very beneficial.
EA Sports is proud to present PGA Tour coverage. Today we're here at Chambers Bay in University Place, Washington. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo for EA Sports, set to bring you all the action out on the course. Frank, what can you tell us about this golf course?
First and foremost, Rich is going to be the host of the 2015 US Open, but it's a true links golf course designed by Robert Trent Jones II. Breathtaking views of the Puget Sound, as well as the Olympic Mountains on a clear day.
Frank, you think of links golf, you think of Scotland, the home of golf. Links in the state of Washington?
That's right, and it is a true links too. Wide fairways. You're going to have a little bit of imagination today as well, because when this golf course plays firm and fast, you've got to play the bump and run, and you will need a ton of variety of shots around the greens.
That should be pretty good right there. On the safe side. On the green, and a chance for birdie here on the first hole. Getting set now over the putt. Wow, that hurt.
It did. Shot gone forever.
Just a tap in to finish the hole. And so just getting started, even par so far. Ready to tee off here at the second. Frank, what's it all about?
Well, you hit your tee shot here through the dunes, Rich, not overly long, just under 400 yards. The bunker on the left really shouldn't be a problem. Just avoid the dunes on the right and left.
And that's going to stay on the fairway here at the second hole. Now the game's #1 player, Rory McIlroy, ready with his approach. Stuffed it in there really close, and now just a tap in. Not a gimme, but well within his range. That's a birdie for McIlroy. He's just so explosive. At the third tee now, Frank, and what are we staring at here?
This green is anything other than symmetrical, so be very, very cautious on where the flag is. Anything in the middle of the green you can putt to the corners. Well, if you can call them corners, more like ragtails, but beautiful par 3.
That's a bit offline in the rough. Second shot from the rough. It's on the way. Okay, good shot on the dance floor. Putt for par. Needs one. Stays at 1 under with that par. Frank, here on the fourth tee, you get a good look, don't you, at what Chambers Bay really is all about.
It's framed beautifully, Rich, by the bunkers there, left, short, off the tee, plus the ones down the right side. You can see everything in front of you, but the hole does bend to the right. This is another one where you've got a generous fairway, but don't be fooled by that. It's fairway first.
Tough par 4 measuring 495 yards. Good contact, good result. Frank, when you look at great rivalries in sports, you realize that athletes need each other. Joe Frazier needed Muhammad Ali to achieve greatness, to achieve legendary status. And in golf, Tom Watson needed Jack Nicklaus to push him to another level.
And also to define an era. Without one, we couldn't think of the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s or the 2010s. You need those players to define that era. So you need competition. Competition is not without rivalry.
Really like the way he's swinging it. And the results speak for themselves. Inside of 10 feet, beautifully done. He can really get red hot with a putter. Let's see what McIlroy does. -1 for the day. Well, Frank, here at the 5th, and I'm not sure about my chances at a hole that's called free fall. I mean, are you kidding?
Well, should be free fall for you, that's for sure, and free fall for a lot of people playing it today. Hole looks straight away, but you'll see it starts to pinch in, that fairway that is, by bunkers left and right, and those bunkers come in exactly where you're trying to hit your tee shot.
Well, this one's sweet, Frank.
Super.
A great way to start a hole, nicely placed in the fairway. Let's see what McIlroy does now with his second. Seems to like it. Headed for the fat part of the green. Oh, just a superb shot.
You're not going to see much better than that all day today.
Makeable putt right here, currently sitting at 1 under for the round. Just like that, now at 2 under. Frank, now at the 6th, this appears to be a testing par 4 long one.
It is, but once again, a generous fairway. Just use those mounds down the left as an indicator on your line. Hole bends a little bit to the right. Good tee shot, though, and everything is in front of you.
Outstanding tee shot.
Yeah, ball's sitting up. You don't have to worry about the wind or anything there. You just take a full-blooded cut at the second shot from here.
Frank, what do you think about this approach here at the 6th?
Well, one of the few greens here that's protected on both sides. Rather narrow green, and you can see really what happens if you miss. Bunkers left and right. Plus there's a couple of ridges, so club selection is important here.
That's good stuff right there. Wonderful approach, and now a really good look at birdie. Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. Just singes the edge, Frank.
Yeah, but at least he's burning the edges. You know you're hitting good putts.
Nudge this one home, finish it up. Did the job right there. Frank, this is a daunting challenge. The 7th hole, long par 4. It's over 500 yards.
A huge bunker down the right side that probably runs for a good 200-300 yards. Obviously, that's to be avoided. And then, of course, there's the mounds and the hummocks and the dunes and that on the left side. That's the reason, really, why this hole's called Humpback. But then, a little bit like the golf course, there's only one greenside bunker to be worried about, but enough green left of that.
Frank, the approach here at the 7th, and there's a lot to consider here.
There is. The green at the front is much wider than what it is at the back. It's almost like a tooth or a molar shape. So, you know, that front portion, when the flag's there, definitely a birdie hole. Just got to be a little cautious when they put the flag on the back.
Not enough on that one.
Yeah, just seemed to baby it.
And he's set up for his 3rd shot here, looking to get it on the green with this. Pretty good shot right there.
It's no snack, though.
That is a painful bogey at the 7th hole. Just a couple of feet. That takes him to 1 under on the day. Now to the 8th and a long par 5, Frank.
Fortunately, there's no bunkers, just the dunes either side. The hole looks a little narrow off the tee, but get down there, you're going to realize that's a fairly generous fairway. There's a little bit of mounding in this green, too, that actually slopes it back towards the player. So use that to your advantage.
Wow, that is a monster drive down there, about 315 yards. Looks like he's going to have a go at it here at the par 5, his second shot. Paying attention like a little kid at school, Frank. That baby's sitting up.
Sitting up. It's got the best view as well. You don't even need binoculars from where that ball is.
So, third shot now for Rory McIlroy. Not terrible, but not his best.
Yeah, outside chance, really, for birdie, but really, it was a rather poor approach shot.
This is a pretty long putt here. You'd be happy to get this to within 2 or 3 feet. You really want to take the stress out of that next putt. Looks like he just misread that. Could use this one. This is for par. You couldn't ask for much more than that.